What's up, everybody? This is Tony Flosi for the Crypto Files. You know what time it is? It's time to talk about meters. So let's talk about meters. What we want to do is we want to go from the infamous K2, but no, really, folks. It has some uses, like, paperweights and things. No. And then we want to talk about the mel meter, and we want to talk about the tri-field. Now, all jokes aside, the K2 got its start on ghost hunters. But now, was it really a ghost hunting tool, or was it pressed into service? It was pressed into service. This was an electrician's tool, to where that you would go around and you would find where you had excessive EMF, you had stuff coming out of wiring, maybe bad wiring in the walls, and that's how it got, and it picks up, it does pick up EMF. So it was pressed into service as a ghost hunting tool because allegedly they say, ghosts give off EMF whenever they're trying to manifest. I agree with that to a point, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Then we're going to go up the food chain. Does this have any practical applications still yet? Yes, it does. In certain situations, the first thing you have to know about the K2 meter is, or any of these meters, is do your baseline. What a baseline is you go through the location you're going to investigate, and if you get any spikes, what you do is you look for lighting that may be bad. Fluorescent lights are really bad to put off EMF. Or if you're in an old building, obviously the wiring, keep it away from outlets and things like that. Now, with all that being said, if you're getting zero readings on this, which it reads by the light coming on and going up the continuum from yellow, green, or green, yellow to red. There's actually 4 settings, but that's how that it if there's any EMF in the room. So yes, it does have application, but do not use it as a crutch at all. And know your meter, know what its limitations is, especially with this K2. Now we're going to move on up the food chain to the mel meter. This is light years ahead of this. The mel meter is a very, very good piece of equipment. I recommend them highly. We use them a lot in our investigations. It has several functions, several good features on it. You have temperature, which I'm not setting it off, but this is your temperature. This is your alarm. If something breaks the EMF field, you get an alarm. Also, you have lights. Okay, you have a digital display, which you may or may not can see at this distance, but it's really good. You can use this in EVP. When you're doing an EVP session, sometimes the entities will do that on demand. Not all the time, but you can use it as a trigger object, so to speak. Now, moving on up the food chain, we have the tri-field meter. Now, out of all of these meters, this is probably your most accurate meter. It will measure electric, it will measure magnetic, it will measure microwave, and then what we run it on is a setting called SUM. Now, SUM, because it kind of gives you a balance between them all. And when you get a spike on this, it's probably legitimate. But and also on the mel meter too. I won't take anything away from it, but this is probably the most accurate meter that you can get if you want to measure EMF. Now, let's talk about EMF a minute. EMF is electromagnetic frequency. Now, entities are supposed to be able, whenever that they are trying to manifest, they are supposed to put off an EMF field. I think to a point, but I think what we need to be more concerned about and what we need to try to measure, and I have a piece of equipment coming that we're going to start doing that with is with your static electricity. Because how many times have you went into a room and the hair stand up on your neck, hair stand up on your arms? That's not EMF, that's static. Whenever you walk through, and I know a lot of you people have experienced the same thing, and you walk through something that feels like you walk through spider webs, but there's no spider webs there. Why didn't the EMF go off? You know, why didn't, whenever you're feeding these, having these electrical discharges with the static, why aren't these meters picking up? Well, they're not designed to. So, but do you feel the static charges more when you go into a room or during an investigation, or the EMF charges? So that's one way to look at it. I think that we need to play the statistical probability, and we probably need to look at the devices that will measure static electricity more. Now, this has been a down and dirty review of these pieces of equipment, and some people will agree, some people probably won't agree, but don't get fixated on gear. You know, use common sense, use your investigative knowledge, and don't be so gear oriented. We're minimalists. Thomas and I and the Crypto Files, we're minimalist. We take what works for us and we use it, and we try not to carry in everything in the kitchen sink. But again, you know, this may work for you, the K2 may work for you, the mel meter may work for you, the tri-field may work better for you. And in closing, guys, what I like to tell you is all of these have a place. You're going to have to figure out which one suits you. And one thing that I would really advise you to be is a minimalist. Find out what works for you and stick with it. Don't get caught up in the hype. And until next time, this is Tony Filosi for the Crypto Files. Please check our site out at www.thecryptocrew.com. Hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.